The crux of the matter lies right here in the United States. The reason it does is that we are the only, quote, free country on the planet.
Can I mention something here?
In which we continue to be that way.
Can I mention this much, too? The government of Thailand is also a corporation. The governments of all these different countries are corporations also. The world is looking to us to lead this. There are other parts of the world where you have to pay $10 for a vitamin C tablet. We are the leaders, and we are the last resort, folks. So this is worldwide, too. Thank you, Drake, for putting up with me.
Okay. The basis simply is the voice. If people are tired of regulation, the amount of taxes they pay, the fun and games when you go to the gas station and it went up 20 cents overnight, and all the other horse hockey that is being played games with, it's time to say enough is enough. Now, there are probably a lot of people that have heard a whole lot of information. The differential between me and that information is that I already know most of what was stated earlier. The basis of this is simply this. You have two things going on. Actually, three. One of those is the world stage. The other one is the stage here in the States. And the third one is the personal stage. Each individual that has ever watched an old John Wayne movie or something like that when they was a kid and felt like they wanted to grab the battle flag and run up the hill with it, that, although a kid's game, is just as simple as what we are up to.
Yep.
The idea is to inform everyone that they can and do have, they can take action and do have the power.
Yeah, you have to carry the flag.
Be able to accomplish the end goal. Now, the idea of the White Knight, there's a portion of it in that recording that was played on air. You need to get that recording and listen to it very carefully about what has been happening. The other part of this is that you need to pay attention to the fact that even in a little bitty no place in West Virginia, the International Property Maintenance Code, as an example, has been implemented. That's a UN, United Nations, foreign agenda, and it's been implemented right here in this little place area that I live in the woods.
Yep.
It was stated that if a person did not make their place look according to what they thought it should look like, they would come in and do it for you and charge you for it.
Fine you out of your house. No
fines. They would simply address the situation according to manpower and the time it took to clean it up, whatever it was, disposal fees, etc. You would get to pay for this.
Yep, exactly. Fine you out of it, basically.
This is where you have what is called the issue of control. I don't care who might say so. I cut my grass at a certain level, and I don't care who don't like it. I grow certain things in my yard, and I don't care who don't like it. To take this a step further, we've discussed something called the United Nations. One of the things that the United Nations has done in all of its international dealings since its inception is to inform, and I hope a lot of veterans and a lot of active military are listening very carefully. Each and every last troop movement that we made was broadcast to the enemy. This has been true since its inception. This is one of their protocols and required legalities for them to exist according to their charter. Now, kind of hard to pull a surprise attack when they know you're coming and where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to protect yourself when you got people that like that working against you. The other part of this is that you have the same kind of thing when you run across this regulation by whatever agency that says thou shalt not do that anymore, anywhere, anytime, no matter what.
Anytime you hear agency, folks, that's a corporation buzzword.
But the basis of the problem is simple. Not watching TV for a while, taking time out from things that you might want to be looking at in order to listen to the show, in order to inform yourself, so that you might be able to ask somebody an intelligent question and maybe even get an intelligent response. You might find that a lot of the people, such as the people I deal with up here, and these are plain everyday people. They work every day for a living if they can, and when they can't, they really go crazy because they like to have something to do. They do a lot of combination of physical and what is termed as skilled trades. These are not stupid people, irrespective as to what they do. They might go chasing cows. Doesn't matter.
Hey, Drake, Deatra, didn't you and your son ask about a dozen businesses if they knew the IRS was a private offshore corporation? Not one of them knew that. Is that the case?
Yeah, that was it. Not a one of them knew.
Yeah, and if you get the IRS offer back, that's a 30% load off of the economy.
Well, here's the other part of this, you guys, and that is that when a group of people decide to individually stand up to be free, there's very little that any individual agency, group of agents can do. Now, this was proven on several occasions. The one I'm going to cite is a place I've been. It's called Ruidoso, New Mexico. And in that instance, the sheriff said no to the federal agents who are going to come in and tell people what to do. He was backed up not only by his law enforcement officers and his SWAT teams, but the county militia of several hundred strong showed up in force backing him up.
Now,
they had a say and a legal right to say what went on in their place where they lived. Now, hold on a minute, Jim.
Sure.
Up here in West Virginia, I found that there's a load of farmers and ranchers and people that live off the land in one form or another. The basis of the idea of the Agenda 21 from the UN, and this is now the UN of the USA, in case you don't know that.
Yep.
The problem is that there is to be no private land ownership of any kind whatsoever for any reason. The way and manner in which they're doing that is by implementing regulations arbitrarily fining it at funny levels with no recourse. The problem is that there is nobody, and I mean to get this very clear, no one is safe from that particular process in its pure form.
Yep.
You can fight it, and you can win if you know how. If you get enough people together, you can take it down. The problem is that we have not just that problem, we got a lot of others. They tell you the regulations on what you can do on your farm, how to house your animals, how to take care of them, the whole 9 yards. Now,
can you hear Deatra?
The problem is something that's been mentioned, and that is that the individual by themselves can produce certain legal conditions where they're supposedly immune, except that every time they're challenged, they have to prove it again. This is the reason for what we are trying to accomplish in terms of addressing the root of the problem. When you want to pull a weed, you get a hold of that sucker and you pull it out, roots and all. And that's what we're basically attempting to do through all our efforts. Now, somebody else talk.
Drake, can you hear Deatra?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a comment in the in the chat room asking if these are everyday people, why have they not taken action to inject some kind of request from the people as a group?
Okay, let me address that a little bit. If you are familiar at all with the freedom movement, the first movement that comes to mind would be the Tea Party. That really sticks out. They organized, they became a group, and what happened? They were targeted badly and are still targeted. And that did put a crimp in a lot of what they could have accomplished, because by organizing, putting a name on it, calling it a movement, calling it a Tea Party, automatically they became a target that could be aimed at and hit easily. Because remember what I said, the mainstream media, all your channels, your television channels, your radio stations on the radio, your newspapers, magazines, all of it is owned by the cabal.
Now, here's a way to take it down, folks. And I'm going to just lay this out and hope somebody runs with it. We're working on it. You can work on it right now. You can very simply set up a free telephone conferencing line. You can contact a bunch of people who you know, particularly the businesses, the pillars of the community, and ask them, do you know the IRS is a private offshore corporation? They have no more rights to collect taxes than does the Walmart. And did you know that the BATFE is a private offshore corporation? They have no more right to steal guns than your corner gas station. You contact those people and say, we're going to have telephone conference calls, and you set together a phone tree so when one of these jerks shows up, you kind of surround them and kind of hammer them with a few questions. But the main thing is get smart and get together, and that's the best way I know of getting together. Form a telephone tree and get it out. We're working on a CD to do this so that people can copy it and go. But you've got to understand, if we form an organization, somebody is going to get shot in the head. And I ain't
well, not only that, they immediately infiltrate.
Yes.
Now, comes to mind, one of the better-known ones now is Tim Turner's phony little interim government, RUSA.
Yeah.
And, the truth of that has come out now, but there are still many convinced people who are following him because it's become about the man and not the goal, and he's declared himself anointed by God, so hey, that's another story.
Oh.
But it started out as rap. Now that was corrupt too, because it was all about the money, but it got infiltrated by Turner. The government sent him in. So even if it could have made a difference, somehow in the long run, if it was actually based on a correct premise, which it is not, no way was it going to happen. They simply send in infiltrators to make sure it doesn't go anywhere.
But if you do it county by county by county by county, you see, the truth is what sets us free, and the truth is what's going to bring you together, and the desire for freedom is what's going to bring you together.
You have to do it as individuals.
Right, you have to carry the flag up the hill. That's what this is all about, isn't it?
And by the way, folks,
Drake?
Out there in Radio Land, there is a website called freeconferencing.com. freeconferencing.com. You can get a free conference line. You can record your conversations. You can change the date and save them forever if you want, or let them expire. You can let your callers download them and listen to them in an MP3 player in their car. All you have to do is go set yourself up a free conferencing account and invite your neighbors, invite your family. Have these discussions. Share with them what you're learning.
And if you have some instigator, such as myself, you can shut him up. Please, Deatra, don't shut me up.
I do know
where. Or if you hear somebody on the radio or on a YouTube that is really speaking to you, and you would like your family to talk to them and hear them, invite them to come on one of your calls.
Yeah.
Set up a call and invite the person to come and speak. I'm not saying that's going to work 100% of the time because people are busy and have other obligations, but
Terry,
you have to try.
Terry, in the state I live in, we have monthly calls that also are setting up for a county call. So we have a once-a-month state call, and then we're getting into what we will be doing an every 2-week county call. where we can get our people together so they can learn how to stand